Alright guys, so this is the Golden Eagle LED 5000 and it's a 500 watt COB all-in-one light and it has a freaking ton of power. 500 watts, a lot of power, but how well does it actually perform? How's it going guys? My name is Andrew Murphy from Down Under in Gold Coast, Australia. Right, so firstly, this Golden Eagle LED 5000 that I have with me is actually a pre-production model. So there are a few things that will be changed about the final version, which I'll actually touch on later in this video. Oh my god, she's heavy. So I actually took this light onto a music video shoot recently to test it out and just see like how well it would actually perform. And I was impressed by the quality of the light it produced as well as the output as well. Now 500 watts of power is quite a lot, and how I used it in this actual shoot was as an ambient fill, because we were shooting in this like absolutely freaking massive warehouse with a ton of props and stuff, and without some sort of ambient light it would just been like black or like very patchy light with like the little sources that we had. So firstly, when I actually set it up, I turned it to 100%, which basically turned the set into a daytime scene because it was just so powerful, so bright, but I wanted to see just how much power it would actually produce. But in the end, I actually had to crank it all the way down to 1% because the tube lights that we're using for like the color pops in the actual scene tube lights aren't like super bright by themselves. And especially if you compare it to like a 500 watt COB light. I also got to test out this new 185 centimeter shoot through umbrella that I recently got for literally this exact situation. So the LED 5000 comes with a standard Bowen's mount, but it doesn't come with a reflector dish as part of the kit. So if you don't have one or any other modifiers, then you kind of need something. You can't just really use it by itself. And something like a shoot through umbrella is a really good starting place, or in this case it's actually a really good tool to use, because like obviously the 185 centimeter one is just so big, so huge. It basically works the same as say like a 4x4 or a 6x6 scrim, but it packs down like extremely quickly and takes up basically no space. Now in terms of color accuracy, Golden Eagle prides themselves on their extremely high levels of color accuracy with their lights, and the LED 5000 has a CRI of 97, which is really good. But unfortunately, I guess without me having a color meter, I can't give like an exact reading of how good it really is. But from all the footage that we took, it looked really good, and it actually rendered skin tones really good. But also keep in mind that we were using obviously colored tubes and stuff around, so that will kind of like mess with the colors a little bit as well. Now for the actual interface, it's pretty simple. We basically have a control knob here, a power switch, and then 3 buttons, as well as a large LCD panel as well to obviously display all the information that we're going to need. So the mode switch will switch between obviously the output modes, the effects will turn on the effects, and the menu will allow you to adjust the settings and set up like the Bluetooth for the app and all that kind of stuff. Now with the actual adjustment control with the Golden Eagle, it allows you to control it in obviously 1% increments. So this is just your normal one. But then also if you click it in and then adjust it, you get 0.1% increments. And this is super duper handy because obviously like a 500 watt light is extremely bright, and sometimes a 1% increment or a 1% increase or decrease is just way too much. So being able to have that fine control in there is really handy. Now the design choice is a very interesting one, and at first I wasn't a big fan of it. Like having an all-in-one design like this is for like a very powerful light as well. Means that it's obviously very long, like you can see how long it is, and it's very heavy as well. Like it's 6.5 kilograms for the light itself. And typically brands will separate the power components into a separate ballast to obviously keep the weight separated. However, for like quick run and gun setups or scenes where it will basically just be like set up and left on for hours without really being touched, this actually works really good. However, if you were going to be like adjusting this a lot during a shoot, it might get a little bit annoying. However, there is actually an app as well that you can use with this light, but I'll touch on that a little bit later. Now the LED 5000 is also a mostly metal design, apart from like plastic handle at the back. This back section's plastic. The Bowen's mount itself is actually metal. So all the main stuff that you want to metal and want to be strong is metal. Just this back handle and this back panel at the back is made of plastic. Now considering this is an all-in-one design, they've still managed to add the ability to power this via V-Lock batteries as well as like your standard obviously AC power supply, which is pretty impressive. So we've got a V-Lock plate on this side and also a V-Lock plate on this side as well. However, the actual V-Lock, oh my god, it stabbed me in the neck. However, the actual like V-Lock battery powering interface is a little bit confusing in my opinion. So when you plug it into an AC outlet, the power button obviously works like a power button. It's absolutely fine. But if I get a V-Lock battery and I plug this in, it basically turns on straight away. And if I try to turn it off with the actual power button, let's wait for it to turn on, this doesn't do anything, which is a bit weird. To actually turn it off, you have to hold the mode button for 3 seconds, and then it will power off. But it doesn't actually power off either. It kind of goes into like a sleep mode. So that's just something to keep in mind. And somehow as well, you can also power this via a single 14.8 log V-Lock battery. So you can see we've only got one V-Lock battery on here, and it is actually being powered. Let's turn this up, which is like pretty crazy. Like, they do recommend using 15 amp V-Lock batteries, which is these CAME TV ones. It's the exact reason why I got these CAME TV Mini 99s, because they can output 15 amps of power. And you can actually also run this off 26 volt V-Lock batteries as well, which is pretty impressive as well, and something I haven't really seen before. Like, most of the time it's either you have a 14.8 volt or a 26 volt. You can't like interchange them, but it's got the exact same mount and you can just swap in between them. So I'm guessing there's some sort of inverter or something inside which knows how much voltage is going in and can actually adjust it to work with the light. But I'd say don't mix batteries, so either have two 14.8 volt V-Locks or two 26 volt V-Lock batteries. Don't use one of each. Now the powering modes are pretty standard. So there is a normal mode, which will give you 100% of the power, and the fans will be going at full speed. You then have battery mode, which limits output to 60%, and I guess that's meant to be used when you're using V-Lock batteries. And there's also silent mode as well, which limits the output to 40%, and it slows the fan. It doesn't turn them off completely, but it just slows them down. However, the weird thing is that the mode is interchangeable by the user at any point. So if you are running it off, say, like two 14.8 volt V-Lock batteries, you'd think it would be limited to 60% output, but you can just change it to normal mode and run it at 100% as well. So, I don't know, it's a little bit weird. Now, in terms of fan noise, this is what you're going to get out of the LED 5000. So this is currently on silent mode. And this is probably 40 centimeters away from the mic. And then battery mode is going to be fully spinning the fans. And then again, this is normal mode, which is the same as battery mode as well. So the fans are actually quite loud, but again, very, very bright source, so you're not going to have it very close to a mic typically anyway. Now it also connects to a smart app as well for very basic controls. The app is called Tuya Smart, and it's basically like, you know, like smart bulbs that you have in your house, and you have like the little LED control app on your phone. It's basically that sort of thing, and the only I guess control it will give you is dimming control and the effects. Like, you can't adjust a whole bunch of stuff if it's in the wrong mode. So if you're in silent mode and you want more power, you can't adjust that in the app. So be very careful when you are using the app. I'd make sure you are in normal mode before you start controlling it, just so you get the most amount of range and output when you are controlling it via the app. Now, speaking of effects, it has like the standard 8 built-in ones like lighting, fire, police, all those kind of ones. But because it is obviously a 5600K daylight balanced light, the only real effects that is handy is like lightning mode, unless you actually want to like get a bunch of gels and gel it, so you can use it for like fire and police and all that kind of stuff. Now, a couple of things I have noticed, obviously this is a pre-production model, so there might be slightly different things that will be changed. The Bowens mount actually like locking pin down here, it seems to be like slightly too long, and it actually grabs on the actual mount. I've got in contact with them, and they said that they have actually sorted this issue for the production models. And also on the firmware that I have, I can't actually dim it below 1%. I can't go to 0%. But then like Jason's one that he had could dim to 0%. So it must just be a different firmware, and then obviously be fixed for the final units as well. And also, if you want a 3200 Kelvin warm model as well, they will be offering that when they release these lights as well. Now, as for price, this will retail for $980 US, which is obviously a lot of money, but it's also fairly reasonable for a 500 watt COB light. But the hard thing as well is like there isn't really much to compare it to. Everything you're going to compare it to generally has like a ballast design, which is typically going to be a lot more expensive anyway. But it has a lot of the same features as well, like the V-Lock batteries and kind of the output and stuff. It just depends if you want a large all-in-one design or you want something smaller, more compact, maybe a bit more portable in a separate ballast and cob head design sort of thing. And for me personally, I'm a big fan of those two-piece lights with the ballast design, just for like ease of use and obviously spreading out the weight as well. However, I was extremely impressed by the quality of the light that this thing actually produced, and I can't get over the fact that it has so many different powering options. Like, I still don't understand how it can use both 14.8 volt and 26 volt V-Locks through the same mount. That just blows my mind. But anyway guys, if you did enjoy this review, then consider liking and subscribing to the channel. If you want to find out any more about the Golden Eagle LED 5000, I'll leave some links down below so you can go check it out. But otherwise, stay creative and just be you. Have fun.